All right. Well, first of all, thank you, Vincent, for having me on. Super thrilled. It's definitely a fun way to connect. So myself, I'm the pastry chef owner of a small little chocolate boutique called Puur Chocolat, based in Sacramento. In the process of actually opening up a storefront in downtown Sacramento, where we're going to do some fun cream puffs and soft serve ice cream, and of course chocolates, coffee, and tea. So and then some cookies, of course. So really play around and have some fun and create something unique and special. So yeah, I mean, it's pretty much it.
So right now, what do you have available?
So yeah, right now, so online, what we're providing is a bunch of different pan confections. Let's see, we have Crova Sablé cookie, which is one of my wife's absolute favorite cookies. Let's see, we're out of our chocolate boxes. We're waiting on new boxes right now, unfortunately, for our bonbons. But we still have quite a bit available as well. So a lot of fun stuff, a lot of fun snacking stuff, chocolate tablets. Yeah.
Awesome. All right. So what are we making today? What are you making? What am I making?
Okay, so I'm making a fun cookie that my wife and I make often. It's actually adapted from a recipe from a pastry chef. I'm a big fan of this pastry chef, Rich Ruskell, and it's adapted from one of his recipes. And so we make it quite often to just snack at home. It's basically like the richest chocolate chip cookie that you can possibly find. But to play around with a little bit more is we add matcha and espresso to it. So those are two things that we drink often, especially the matcha. And so it gives a little fun, unique playfulness to it. But we also, what we do is, so one of the bonbons I make is a coffee and green cardamom. So we started adding the cardamom to it because I think it adds like almost like this Turkish coffee quality to the cookie. So yeah, it's just super fun and rich. We use a cake flour for it, so it has a low protein content. So it's a little bit softer and cakier of a cookie, which is just it's kind of, I don't know. I think it's kind of a sinful cookie. I like to have it with a French press in the morning. So yeah, and
Cool.
then well, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, and then I'm gonna make a brookie. So I made a brownie. So I made your cookie. All right, Ramon, I made your cookie, which was really good. I like the whole espresso and matcha powder in it. That was totally like delish. I didn't have any fennel, so I just added some anise at the end. But then I did do a recipe using Cacao Barry, because I know you're a Cacao Barry ambassador. I did one with the brownie that's in their book, which I listed the recipe, and then a chocolate chip cookie, right? Then I did the same thing using your cookie and then a chocolate chip cookie, right? And they're both delicious.
Okay? Love it.
So all I'm gonna ask is that your laptop where you're working, your laptop camera, and just so we can see what you're working on. Right, and same for the Instagram one, just so they can see you mixing, and then we'll be all set, and you can get started.
All right. Can we see that?
Yeah, for sure.
There we go. Okay. So what we're doing, we have the eggs and the sugar in there, and we're gonna let this whip for quite a while. Basically, the ribbon. And basically what ribbon means is basically where you'll start seeing the eggs get really pale and white and really hold structure. So we want to incorporate a good amount of air, but we don't want to whip it too fast, because if you whip it too fast, then you're going to have large air bubbles, and those will just collapse a little bit faster when you start incorporating the other ingredients.
So, Ramon, while that's whipping, can I get started on my brownie?
Yeah, please.
All right, cool. So I melted some chocolate, right? And essentially they ask in the book that you soften your butter. So you have nice soft butter, and you melt your chocolate, you have it at about 35 Celsius, right? And you're gonna add your melted chocolate to your softened butter, right? And you're just gonna mix that all together, right? Until you have a nice little paste. I found it interesting that they didn't want you to actually melt the butter so much, with everything all together, but you just kind of soften and then just kind of pour over. Then we have our sugars and we have our egg. The idea behind that was that you were going to mix your sugar and your brown sugar or Muscavado sugar along with egg. Mix that together until it dissolves. So essentially we want this to dissolve. And once we've got that going on, as you can see, we're going to add that to our melted chocolate. So we have our melted chocolate and butter. You can have that in there. Just like that. And we're gonna mix it up. Then we're gonna add in our sifted flour and cocoa powder. And there you go. That's your brownie. And that brownie was like super, super quick. What I liked about this brownie, it's not like super dense either.
Right.
Right? It was really like light and fluffy. So there's our brownie mix. Not too bad, right?
You know, I think I'm gonna make that tonight.
You should. Dude, I ate the brownie and I ate your cookie and I was like, I can't eat any more chocolate right now.
Well, I had about 3 of these cookies last night, and then we ate a box of Chris Harvey's chocolates afterwards.
Oh, nice. Wait, what flavors did you have?
Of Chris Harvey's?
Yeah.
Let's see. He had a berry pâte de fruits with, I believe, a single origin chocolate. That I had we had the pastry caramel with white chocolate.
Okay.
Let's see. He had a layered gianduja one. He had a single origin Madagascar, which was delicious. I don't remember what else. There's quite a bit. And then we had a box of candied orange peel, chocolate covered candied orange peel.
Sounds pretty delicious. So where are you at on your cookie now? It looks fluffy.
So I'm almost done whipping these eggs. So at this point, what we're gonna do is pull it off, and then we're gonna start adding the chocolate that we melted with the cocoa butter.
I wonder if anyone has any questions right now. Any questions? Is it ready yet? Yes.
Yep, just about to pull it.
Cool.
So with the eggs, they're pale. They're starting to hold structure.
Right.
We're gonna take this whisk off, and we're gonna actually just fold in this chocolate, and then we'll transfer to a paddle, and we'll slowly just incorporate the other ingredients with the paddle very lightly.
Okay.
With the chocolate, I try to go a little bit at a time.
What's the worry if you put in too much at once? What are you worried about?
Well, I find it incorporates a lot easier when you just add a little bit at a time. I mean, essentially, like what I do with a mousse, it's the same thing. You know, it's just a little bit at a time, just to gradually incorporate other ingredients into the base. Luckily for this, the yolks are nice and at room temperature, so it's not going to set up the chocolate.
Yeah.
But also I find like when you add too much of the chocolate all at once, it deflates the eggs a little bit more.
Okay.
Whoops.
And what made you think about doing espresso and matcha? Why not one versus the other, or why did you end up doing both?
Double caffeine, Vincent. Double caffeine.
Yeah. Are you a matcha
No,
drinker?
yeah, I'm a big matcha drinker. My wife and I drink matcha every day, usually around noon, but we drink coffee also in the morning. So let's see, the matcha, we just love that extra little bit of bitterness that it gives. You know, it's not obviously like not as intense as like if you're gonna eat up ground espresso. You know, so it's a little bit more enjoyable. But we also love, you know, just espresso and chocolate is just so incredible together. So just trying to balance it out a little bit more, you know.
Yeah.
All right. So for the dries, what we do, same thing, just mix it all together. They're sifted. We mix it together.
And what grade matcha are you using, or what brand are you using?
Okay, so I have this company that I believe they're based in San Francisco called Breakaway Matcha, and they're just awesome. They have super hyper premium matchas that'll, you know, they're crazy expensive, but they're absolutely just phenomenal. But they also have a culinary matcha that is it's affordable but it's incredible, and it's hard to beat the quality of their matchas. I love having these bowls, by the way. Everyone should have these bowls at home.
Yeah, they're pretty useful. And so then you're just gonna put this back on with the paddle to mix it all together.
Yeah, just till it comes incorporates together. Yep.
Okay.
And then we'll add the chocolate and the fennel, which I just diced as well. So fennel, we go super small dice, and basically as the cookie's cooking, it cooks the fennel, so it gets nice and soft and tender during the bake.
That's really cool. What made you think about using fennel in a cookie?
So fennel. Back in the day when I was down in LA, when I was the executive pastry chef for David Meyer's group, I used a lot of savory elements into my desserts, and fennel was one of those ones that we used often. You know, it grew wild, pretty much like in Malibu area, in the Malibu hills. So being able to forage for it and find it was awesome. You know, so fennel pollen, fennel, wild fennel, and so you know, having like endless supply, you try to figure out ways to utilize it. So we used to make these actually into tiny little mini minier cookies, and we used to put the fennel in there. So one, it was a way of utilizing the product. Two, it's you know, espresso and licorice flavors go super well together. Yeah, that's pretty much it.
Yeah, no, it's pretty good reasoning.
So I got fennel, mix it in. We got some more of our 64% Guayaquil chips. Mix that in super lightly, and then we can start shaping.
Very nice. So what do you mean? You're gonna scoop it, or you're gonna roll out into logs, or what are you doing with it?
You know what? I just, for these, we'll just roll them out by hand. If you're in a fine dining setting, yeah, you can roll into logs and cut it, or you could I do still like to keep, or I still like to scale it at least, but for the most part, you just roll it by hand.
Okay.
Yeah, get your hands dirty, you know?
Yeah, for sure. All right. Well, while you organize that, I'm going to quickly make a batch of chocolate chip cookies because it's part of my brookie, right? So we have our butter, sugar, and brown sugar, right? We're going to get that into the bowl. I let the butter out pretty much most of the day. It's really nice and soft, and I'm just going to mix it up, right? And get a KitchenAid, but obviously not everyone has a KitchenAid. Not everyone has a 20-quart mixer in front of their meter.
Good point.
But you know what? Your cookie, it's easy to do by hand too, right? I mean, there wasn't much to it, was there?
I mean, the hardest part would be whipping by ribbon, but
Yeah.
I mean, if you do it at home, I would probably whip it to ribbon over a double boiler.
Yeah.
You know, it makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, I mean, you can definitely just whip by hand.
All right, so I cream that by hand, tossed in my egg, right? Mix that up, and I'm just gonna add in my, what is it, flour, baking powder, and just salt. I mean, come on, everyone knows how to make a cookie, right? But I mean, it's just so easy and it's always comforting, for sure.
So we got our cookies. Just nice big round ball. Vincent, did you scale yours at 50 grams yesterday or last night?
I did not. I used a purple scoop, so I'm guessing they were about like, I don't know, 35 grams or something like that.
All right.
What's it look like in your hand? Okay, yeah. Do you see this one in my hand? I mean, it's smaller, right?
Yeah.
For sure.
So.
And then for the cookie, chocolate chips. You know, I had chopped up some of the Cacao Barry chocolate. Was it the Guayaquil, the 64?
Yeah, 64.
Yeah, in this batch that I made.
Right on.
I like chopping up and adding it, right? I don't know. I like that. You know, Jack Torres back in New York would do a cookie dough, and then he would like have a layer of chocolate and then a layer of cookie dough, right? So it was like the chocolate was layered in. So every bite you get a nice amount of chocolate.
I like that.
That was like my favorite.
That's like Joe Pesci in The Godfather. I want equal amount of blueberries in every single pancake.
Yeah. There you go. Quick cookie dough. All right, so you scale these out. I'm going to scoop mine. And so I pan spray it first, right? And then looking for my silver scoop. Grab my silver scoop. And it really doesn't matter. I mean, the brownie cooks and the chocolate chip cookie cook at the same amount of time at the same temperature. So we're going at 350 Fahrenheit. And let's just say I take my brownie, right? I'll get my brownie in the bottom, do a couple of those, right? And then I'm going to have to use the same scoop, but flatten it out just a little bit if you need to, and then the cookie goes on top. What I had done was I actually used some dough, the brownie dough that I had made. So, you know, and press down and put your cookie and then press down on top of that. And so that's what you get, right? So 350, 20 minutes, it comes out of the oven, and it's just like, I mean, it's super easy. I used your cookie too, you know, and they're both really good.
Yeah, exactly.
When I did your cookie, I was like,